Hi, my name is Randy Brown. I'm the principal of Randy Brown Architects. And about a year ago, we decided to rebrand ourselves. We came up with a new logo, and we've simplified the firm name to RBA. But if you look closely at the logo, you'll notice that there is an R, a 3, and an A. And what that stands for is research, architecture, art, and activism. And research and art and architecture are pretty obvious, but activism is a word you don't always think about when you think about architecture firms. But for us, it's a very important part of our practice. Activism, number one, we're looking for clients that really want to heal the world, that want to make a difference in the world. So we're trying to find these clients that we can help with our architecture, help them to achieve their mission, help to achieve their goals, their strategic plans. The second part of activism is we like to do pro bono projects. We did a boys club about 5 years ago. I did it totally pro bono, and that's another aspect of activism. And the third part of activism for us is we take 10% of all of our fees that we make and we're putting them into a separate fund. And that is our fund. Right now we're working on a book pledge, and we're going to be providing books to at-risk kids in the Omaha, Nebraska area. So today, I'm going to get to present a project called River Probes, a perfect example of an activist project. The University of Nebraska came to us a couple years ago and said, our waters are disgusting, they're polluted, and what we're going to do is we want to create a research facility on the rivers of Nebraska so we can try to understand why they're being so polluted and what we can do to figure out the source of the pollution and then ways that we can fix the pollution in the rivers. So they said, we'd like to build 7 of these research stations out on the river. And we were trying to think of someone that could think of how do you build a building on a river. We thought, you're the only crazy architect that could probably come up with a solution. So we got hired to get to do this really amazing project. What they are is they're very small buildings. They cost $150,000, and it's a research station. One laboratory lab technician will go out to the building every day and check on the status of the water. There's a pump in the building, and the pump actually pumps the water from the river up into the building, and they can do daily test samples of the water. They also have a series of fish tanks in the building, and the fish are being exposed to all the contaminants in the water on a real-time basis. So they're going to study the effects of the pollution on the fish over a period of 2 to 5 years. It was a very challenging project to build on a river. We ended up doing pilings about 100 feet down into the ground, and then we had to build the building outside of the 100-year floodplain. So we had this very small, slender building sticking up off the ground about 30 feet. And one of the challenges is the height that this river changes. It actually, at high, it almost got up to the 100-year flood. And this image right here shows the 100-year flood is that line that's demarcated on the building. And the area below that is what we call the rudder. And that's the deflection thing that when they have logs running downstream in the high, after rains and storms, that piece of the building actually deflects it away and protects the steel poles that go down to the pilings. We had to create an ADA access, so we came up with these 2 series of ramps that move up into the building. And we thought of the building not just as a private laboratory, but also as a public facility. And so we wanted to create it open and inviting and actually create an observation point for the community. So the walkways actually go right through the building and become an observation point on the other side of the building. Here you have the entrance to the project and the gate, so it can be locked off at night. We wanted to use materials that seemed natural, and the rusted metal, the Cor-Ten steel, seemed to be a perfect material for the exterior of the building. Galvanized metal and wood Trex is the flooring material. Here's a diagram that explains how there's a pump out in the river, and it pumps the water up into holding tanks, testing tanks, and also the tanks of the fish. Then that water gets deposited back into the river. So it's a real-time, it's what we call a living stream. All the data that they're collecting every day gets pushed up into the satellites and then back to a website. And then so anyone can get on the website at any time, the Watershed Network, and start to see what's happening with the analysis of the water qualities in the rivers in Nebraska. Even the little details like the screen door there that locks at night. When you open it in the in position, all of the horizontal pieces become ledges where they can put their beakers of water. So a lot of multiple functioning elements within this project. Here you have a view of the inside showing the fish tanks and studying the animals in their tanks. There's also a place to have a seat here where you could do a video log. So anyone can come in, sit down, and they can be broadcast on the Watershed Network about their experiments or what's happening with the river. We've also thought about being a very sustainable project. So some of these rivers are out in the middle of nowhere. So we're using the PV panels for the electricity. We've got the satellite dish. We've also got a rainwater collection system so that certain researchers, when they go out to western Nebraska, they can actually stay in the buildings overnight. It's a challenge when you're out in the middle of nowhere, but we think that the reasons to do the project are twofold. One is it's just the university has a very great mission to try to solve what's happening with all the contaminants and the pollutants in the rivers. And number two, we can create these great public spaces for people to go out and really experience the different rivers of Nebraska. So activism for us, it's really helping our clients change the world and heal the world in a positive way. Number two, activism is becoming partners and doing pro bono work. Great. Doing our book drives and taking 10% of our fees and putting those back into the community in some kind of activist way. Thank you.